I do want to ask you about the Wikipedia thing, though. This is really interesting. I don't know if you guys have seen this. It's all over X right now. We all know Wikipedia is biased. This is obvious. I probably check my Wikipedia page like 2 times a year. It's not that frequent that I look at it, but it's a joke. It's not even accurate, by the way, especially when it comes to some of my personal information. I don't know who they're citing or what their sources are, but it's not even accurate. But it's also full of lies. It's obviously just this very biased leftist. Oh, Snopes said this. Liz, purveyor of disinformation about COVID, and it's ridiculous. I feel like, and this is just me, I don't want to speak for other people here, I'm almost desensitized to it because it's been so biased for so long. But I will tell you, when I was talking to Spencer, when we were discussing this show and discussing like, oh, is the Wikipedia story, like, what is this? I got more interested in the Wikipedia story when I was reading your reports on it, because it seems like you're saying that this isn't just a grassroots effort, a kind of biased CNN style, like, don't take them seriously, they're just stupid leftists, that this is information warfare that's happening on Wikipedia. Is that an accurate characterization of what's happening?
Absolutely. It's information warfare conducted by ideological actors, by state-aligned propagandists, by groups that are tied to foreign terror organizations across the board, because each of them has understood how easy it is to basically hijack any, not just article, but any topic area. So that could be the topic area of American politics, it could be Israel-Palestine, it could be any number of things. It only takes about a dozen, maybe, dedicated editors to completely conquer or infiltrate a topic area and implant their own viewpoint on it and spread these kinds of falsehoods freely.
So, I mean, a foreign terror organization, that's the word that, or the phrase you just spoke that I'm fixated on. Explain that to me.
One of the biggest reports I've done on the Wikipedia stuff involves a group of around 40. There's really about 10 or 12 who are leaders of the group, pro-Hamas. They're editors. They're sort of removing mentions of Hamas crimes, including terror attacks. They're doing the same for Hezbollah. They're sort of whitewashing Hezbollah. They're acting on behalf of the Iranian regime. They're removing human rights abuses listed on Wikipedia. So this is stuff that's done to advance the own interests of groups like Hamas and Hezbollah. One of these editors removed any mention of Hamas's genocidal 1988 charter from dozens of Wikipedia articles. This is not something you do just because you're a hobbyist or you're an enthusiast for Hamas. Like, you're doing this in alignment with whether or not that person is directly paid for them or somehow in their employ. It's unknown, but this is aligned exactly with their own objectives and how they try to appear and present themselves to not just the American public, to the world. So the damage is immense because Wikipedia is not a walled garden. What is on the site doesn't stay on the site. It gets pulled into ChatGPT, into Gemini, into every frontier AI model. It basically populates all of Google on a topic search. It is what feeds into Alexa, into Siri, and what becomes ground truth for most of us without us actually ever knowing that.
Yeah, that is so creepy. That's incredibly creepy. And it's not just world affairs too, it's political, or it's domestic political stuff too.
Yes.
Is there a way to establish whether these dedicated editors, especially the ones that kind of have a monopoly on a certain political topic, is there a way to determine whether they are paid and who's paying them? Because one of the things that we do on this show is unmasking the who's behind, whatever it might be, whether it was the anti-ICE riots, whether it's who's behind Antifa. And I feel like it's very instructive, not just for the American public, but for the government, for them to know how to take action when something's a conspiracy, when something's a highly coordinated network, and it's not just a decentralized, grassroots, organic, leftist group of kids. It's very instructive to know who's behind these. Can you give us an idea of, I guess, as it relates to domestic politics here, who's behind the Wikipedia editor efforts?
This is one of the problems with Wikipedia. One of the very big problems is that these editors can sort of sling these accusations, or they can warp a topic area like American politics, or like I reported previously for Pirate Wires, which is they systematically establish this narrative that Trump is a fascist. They did it by relying on outright Marxist sources that consider themselves to be Marxists, but they do it under the protection of anonymity provided by the site. So the site doesn't know who they are. We don't know who they are. They're having this outsized influence on American politics itself. And this is all happening under the sort of aegis of Wikipedia and Wikimedia Foundation, which owns the site, being granted tax-exempt status by the United States government. And the other thing that's going on here, which we do have more insight into, is that I would say a significant portion of the money that Wikimedia Foundation receives from donation, we're talking about $185 million in income a year. A lot of that money gets passed through to radical left-wing NGOs. So this is kind of just
Of course, it's the NGOs. Of course,
yeah. So there's it functions almost like a cutout. The other piece here is that there's significant ties between Wikimedia Foundation and Hillary Clinton, and also with George Soros, who, again, I reported, did a whole story on this. A lot of Soros's most senior people were put into or came to Wikimedia Foundation in 2017, which is right at the time Wikimedia Foundation redefined the mission of Wikipedia from just being an online encyclopedia into becoming a social justice movement powered by DEI.
Oh, goodness. Of course it is. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised at this point. These radical leftist NGOs funded by billionaire leftists like George Soros or Roy Singham, they are behind everything. It is, again, I'm always going to be shocked by this because it's so evil, but I suppose I shouldn't be surprised.